For the first time since last year, there are less than 100 days until the upcoming NFL season. And with the Commanders' second public OTA practice over and done with, who is standing out, who is stepping up a leader, and ultimately, how is the team looking? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, back for the second time today, this time to discuss the second public practice of Commanders OTAs Phase 3. In this video, we will discuss questions and even some concerns about Bill Croskey-Merritt, Josh Conerly Jr. looking like a new man and learning from Laremy Tunsil, Terry McLaurin ready to rock and roll into game day Sundays, Drew Stevens and Jake Moody going back and forth in their kicking battle, and everything else that happened out there on the practice field in Ashburn, Virginia. So make sure you gather around, hit the like and the hype buttons if you're enjoying the content here on the channel. Subscribe if you're new. We got videos coming out every single day. We are on the push to 8,000 subscribers at well, and I want you to be a part of this community. I did hear back from the winner of the 7,000 subscriber jersey giveaway, so that is officially done and dusted. I will put confirmation up on the screen that I sent them their jersey. But just because you missed out on that doesn't mean we won't have more giveaways coming up in the future. Link to join the Full Command Discord at the top of the description below. And as always, your thoughts and opinions are welcomed down in the comment section below. So today marked the beginning of the second stint of the Commanders OTAs Phase 3. There will also be practice tomorrow and the day after, but the media is only allowed at one of those days. So today will probably be the only day you really get pictures and videos and, of course, quotes, interviews with the players, all that great stuff until the team advances into its next phase. However, this one day was stuffed with content on the Commanders' official YouTube channel. They posted interviews with David Blau, Dan Quinn, Josh Conerly Jr., Terry McLaurin, and Odafe Oweh. It's always good to see the boys back in action on the field, especially when they're wearing that burgundy and gold. So let's get to talking about all of the standout notes from today's practice, starting with Bill Croskey-Merritt. Looks like he's put on some serious weight. It's funny that we talk about these players. Josh Conerly looks bigger and better. Laremy Tunsil looks bigger and better. Jayden Daniels looks bigger. Bill Croskey-Merritt looks bigger. Everybody looks like they've been in the weight room, and I'm trying not to fall victim to this probably isn't the case. You probably just forgot what NFL players look like because they haven't been on the field in a while. But when you compare these individuals to how they looked in seasons past, no, they do look bigger. I thought Bill looked pretty damn swole by the end of last season, but he looks even bigger now. Unfortunately for him, and according to 7 News DC's Scott Abraham, as Bill was about to do some team drills, he was pulled to the side by the strength and conditioning staff. Now, this is notable because Bill was also on the sideline for all of last week's public OTA practice. Nobody has really said much about why, which should be interpreted as a good thing. I mean, the Commanders were tight-lipped about a lot of injury stuff. Like, to this day, does anyone have any clue what happened with Noah Brown? It's been so long that I genuinely, was it a groin or something? I don't know, man. But back in the offseason, he had some weird abdominal injury that might have even been the Titans game last year when he got the abdominal injury. And then I don't know what happened in the offseason, but he couldn't practice. And then he tries to go against the Packers and he's out for 4 games, but they don't put him on IR. And then after 4 games, they do move him to IR. I'm hoping it's not anything like that, and I don't think it would be because Bill was literally in line. If you haven't seen the video, you're probably seen it by now. Bill was in line with the football under his arm about to do the team drill. Hopefully he's like right on the cusp of being good and there's just something small that's been nagging. But Bill, nobody's really said what's going on with him. Nobody has said why he is sitting out. You would just like to see him getting ready. I guess that's what I would say. You want to see him preparing for the season. Now, I'm not calling Bill frail by any stretch of the imagination. I also would imagine the new muscle would probably help him stay healthier. He played all 17 games last season, finished with 800 yards. We know what he did. But he did have to sit out some training camp practices and some preseason practices, had something going on with his shoulder, dealt with bumps and bruises over the course of the regular season as well. So just hoping that Bill can demonstrate that consistency, especially as he moves into this RB1 sort of role. Now, Dan Quinn did mention during his press conference that Bill has been doing more work in the passing situations and in the return game this year, which is definitely a welcome sign, shows that he is becoming a more well-rounded running back and football player. But it also suggests that he has been practicing probably just not during the public media days. So ultimately, we will keep an eye on the situation and continue to monitor what happens, but hopefully Bill is fine, and this turns out to be nothing at all, just precautionary. I'm excited to talk about Josh Conerly today. I really enjoyed Conerly's interview. I thought he had some very revealing and insightful quotes. One of those being about how he rebuilt his body. Now, I have spoken about how he appeared to be a new man. He looked tore up, he looked a little yoked, and in a good way. He looked lean, but he also looked muscular in some of the pictures that the Commanders media team had put out. Well, lo and behold, here he is today confirming that he did go through a transition with his body while admitting that he was actually overweight last season.
No, I mean, I'm still around the same weight, like 310, 315. I did cut a heavy amount after the season, because I ended the season at like 318 or something around there. I was pretty fat, so cut down a lot of body fat and added some muscle, I guess. So
how did you do that? Just the body fat?
Yeah, dieting, eating a lot cleaner, eating a little less, and then once we got back out here, I feel like you can add more and more. So yeah.
This wasn't the only standout quote from Conerly. He mentioned that part of him rebuilding his body was going to work out with Laremy Tunsil in Alabama. Said initially after the season ended, he cut some weight, went back to Oregon, worked with his trainer, but then he spent a few weeks, close to a month, with Laremy Tunsil in Alabama. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. We know that Tunsil extended the invites to Trent Scott. He extended it to everybody, but I believe Brandon Coleman went to work with him, Conerly went to work with him, and Trent Scott, I believe as well, also went to work with Tunsil. If you want to get bigger and stronger, there's not a whole lot of guys in the NFL or walking the globe that are better. When we're talking functional strength, there's not a whole lot of guys better to go to than Laremy Tunsil. And then you add in Laremy Tunsil's actual football skills, and he's one of the best left tackles in the sport. Left tackle being one of the most important positions in the entire game. So love that Conerly is going to hang out with him. Also mentioned that after OTAs and to get ready for minicamp, I think it was to get ready for minicamp. It might have been to get ready for training camp, but Conerly plans to go back down to Alabama with Tunsil, and they will work out there. Music to my ears as far as I'm concerned. Conerly also spoke about the athleticism of the entire offensive line and said that they will be moving side to side with their blocking, which once again confirms what we all know, which is they will be using predominantly a wide zone scheme style of running game. Another interesting thing Conerly said was about the improvement of the coaching staff with Darnell Stapleton. I'm going to start you off by letting you hear what he had to say, and then we'll transition to my thoughts on it.
I mean, so he sat next to me in the meeting rooms all through my rookie year. So me and him already had a pretty close relationship. But yeah, in our meetings, it's just like when he ran a lot of our third down meetings and stuff like that. I feel like we're a lot more interactive. I'll say that.
As a standalone incident, this is whatever. Nice quote. Cool. We're excited about Darnell Stapleton. And I am actually excited about Darnell Stapleton. Don't take that to mean anything else. But Terry McLaurin recently was on the Rich Eisen show. I think it was just a few days ago. And he spoke about how this new Commanders offense offers him more opportunities. Literally said that just the other day. Today, in his media availability, which is publicly available on the Commanders YouTube page, you can go listen to Terry say that when he was with Cliff Kingsbury in that offense, defenses knew that he was pretty much always going to be lining up on the left side of the field, a lot of the time standing alone. He did note that he had success in Cliff's offense, and he did, 1,000 yards in 24. They go on the run to the conference championship game. Terry sets a franchise record for single season receiving touchdowns. He did have success, but he also not so subtly said Cliff's offense was somewhat predictable as far as what he was allowed to do. He mentioned that he was excited to get more opportunities in David Blau's offense because the running game looks like the passing game looks like the running game, different routes set up the same, and then the DB doesn't really know what's happening until he's making the break in his route later in the play. Those types of comments all in combination give me an impression that some of the coaches may have lost some of the players last season. And it's not just that. Of course, I made a video about Dyami Brown after last week's OTA practice where he said this.
Dyami, how different does this offense feel than when you were here 2 years ago?
Well, 2 years ago, it was a more like college style, no huddle type thing. But here we can, pretty much dissect the defense the way we want to and be able to put guys in position to make plays.
So the more of these comments that we get, even if they are mild when isolated, in combination, they reveal a general feeling of consternation with some of the old coaches. Now, we're early in the offseason, and of course, the players, everyone involved in the team is going to feel good about where they're at. They're going to praise their coaches. But I set that to the side, and I find it notable that several players, multiple players, and it's not just Terry, Diami, and Conerly. Other guys, Brandon Coleman has spoken about it. Treylon Burks has spoken about it. They keep highlighting the new improvements of the offense compared to the one of the year before or even the year before that. So just something that I'm keeping an eye on. And ultimately, I'm excited to find out if they're just blowing smoke up David Blau's ass or if this offense really is an improvement, which I do think that it will be. I said Terry's name already. I have to talk about him because he does seem to be the standout of OTAs thus far. Now, I'm not going to go into a full deep dive here because I'm actually doing that tomorrow. I've got a really, really insightful video about Terry McLaurin coming out tomorrow. Really proud of the way that it's shaping up. I haven't actually sat down to record it, but in gathering my material, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a great watch for all of you, so I highly encourage you to check that out when you see it tomorrow. But like I said, I'm going to go full in-depth tomorrow. I'll give you the abbreviated version today. Essentially, Terry is the best player at OTAs right now. That's what it sounds like. Linnell Williams of Westwood Sports said that the 5-17, that being Jayden Daniels to Terry McLaurin connection, is as strong as ever, and Terry is being targeted frequently and all over the field. I've also heard a couple of people, Logan Paulson included, say that Treylon Burks appears to be the early favorite to be the number 2 receiver opposite Terry McLaurin, with Luke McCaffrey and Antonio Williams battling it out in the slot. Now, DQ did also confirm today that Williams has worked primarily in the slot, although they will shift him outside in the near future to see how he looks. Williams can absolutely still play that Z receiver position, and I am still confident in that. But Treylon Burks is 6'2", 220 pounds, and looks like he's 6'5", 250 when you see him with a helmet and pads on. The dude's got shoulders like Larry Wheels, if you know who that is. Treylon Burks has that physical element to his game that no one else on the Commanders does. Dyami Brown is tall and he can be a deep threat, but he's not physical like that. So Dyami does have his selling points. Treylon does have his selling points. Even Lucas, he has his selling points. While I think Williams can certainly operate out there, they're just the personnel packages are going to be somewhat dictated by the context of the game. Does this play, does this route, does this combination, does this situation, does this down and distance, does it call for a more physical element, or does it call for someone who can win with initial burst off the line? If it's the latter, then we'll go with Antonio Williams. But if it's the former, then you're going to see Treylon Burks out there. The great part about this offense is it sounds like everybody's going to be moving around all over the field. So again, speaking to that unpredictability, maybe it's Terry who's lining up at the Z and Luke McCaffrey's playing next. You never know what you're going to get, which of course we should all be very excited to see. Switching from offense to defense. Got to hear from Odafe Oweh today. As you all know, I'm sure, my number 1 target for the Commanders in free agency. I am so pumped to see this guy in action. Before I say anything about what he said or anything like that, I saw a clip of Oweh working on some pass rushing drills. Nothing very flashy at all, but just seeing him walk around, knowing that he ran, did he run a 4.3? I gotta look up his combine numbers now because I know they were absurd. It might have been a pro day, as a matter of fact. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was a pro day, so I got to look up his RAS score, not his combine. Here we go. Odafe Oweh ran a 4.37 at 6'4" and about 5/8, 257 pounds. Ran a 4.37 with a 1.59 10-yard split. Had a 39.5-inch vertical leap. An 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. It's a pro day. These numbers might be fudged a little, but I'm saying all of this because that's not even what I noticed with him when I was watching these clips of him at practice. I noticed just how long his arms looked, and I had to go back and look it up. He measured in at 34.5-inch arms. I know arm length is some of this nerdy stuff that we shouldn't really be talking about unless it's right before the draft, but he looks every bit of the part of a $100 million edge rusher, which is good, because he is one. Adam Peters gave him $100 million. But like I said, I'm so stoked to see him in action for the burgundy and gold. Speaking of Oweh, when he was up at the podium, he said that he loves the Durante Jones defense because it is attack-minded. Attack-minded. When is the last time the Commanders have been dictating the terms to opposing offenses? It's been a long time, but that is yet another reason. Forget Jayden Daniels, who obviously I can't wait to see ball out again, but I'm excited by the fact that I am eagerly anticipating watching the team play defense. I can't remember the last time that I said that in my Commanders watching. Boots on the ground have confirmed that there is a ton of movement pre-snap, and not just in the front seven, but in the secondary as well. Now, Oweh was asked about his new teammate, Sonny Styles, and he said he looks like a mini Bobby Wagner. Actually, a baby Bobby Wagner is what he said. Sonny Styles is not a mini anything, but a baby Bobby Wagner. Sonny was actually on the first player on the field today. Fun note about him. Very impressive stuff as a rookie. But I'm not entirely sure where Oweh drew this comparison from, because he wasn't teammates with Bobby Wagner here, so it wouldn't be natural to compare him. I don't know if he just thought about it for a moment. It was like, yeah, Wagner was here for the Commanders last season, so it makes sense that Sonny would be him reincarnated. Or maybe the scary version is Sonny just looks that good. Maybe he's got that type of hold on the players around him. Maybe he's got that level of leadership. We learned from, I believe it was from David Harrison of Locked On Commanders. I believe it was from him who spoke about how Sonny is already a film junkie. He's staying late watching it with other guys there. Like I said, he was the first player, not just defensive player, the first player on the field for OTAs today. So I said previously that I think he will have a Jayden Daniels level impact on the defense. Maybe not quite in terms of play, because Jayden touches the ball every play and Sonny can only do so much since he doesn't. But in terms of leadership and giving guys someone to look at, they lost that when they lost Bobby Wagner, but they may have regained it with Sonny Styles. On a related note here, another exciting tidbit from practice was I saw reporters talking about how much communication there was with the Commanders, specifically the linebackers and the secondary members. This is so important overall in the modern day of football, but looking back on what happened last season, and knowing how bad it was, and also thinking about how much communication will be required in this Durante Jones defense, your guys need to be able to talk to each other. Now, this is totally random, but I was looking at some film earlier today for tomorrow's video about Terry McLaurin, which, again, you don't want to miss. After I read these reports, keep in mind, I was watching the film this morning, and the OTA practice obviously happened in the noon and early afternoon. After reading these reports about all the communication, it took me back to some plays that I just stumbled upon earlier when I was looking for plays for my video. I'm going to show you this one, which is just it's a good encapsulation of some of the issues that just befuddled everybody at home, on the field, on the team, everybody related to the Commanders. On this play, you're going to see Marshawn Lattimore is pointing and shouting. Bobby Wagner is rooted in the ground. Trey Amos and Mike Sainer still have been taken out of the play because of the design. They're trying to communicate, but nobody's on the same page as one another. And then this next play, which I've shown on this channel, I don't know how many times, this is one of my favorite plays of the season when it comes to pointing out what was wrong with the defense. The way this plays out is a 3-man rush cover 0, which I promise you right now does not exist in any playbook at any level of football. Go down to U5 ankle biter. No, this play is not in anybody's playbook, but this is how the Commanders executed it. I don't understand how Reeves, Bobby, and Luvu can yell at each other so much, and nobody seems to have a clue what is going on. Reeves in particular just looks baffled standing down at the end of the line of scrimmage. He's going like this with his back turned to the ball when it's snapped. And then the funny thing is the communication doesn't even really seem to matter because Mikey gets burned so bad and Darnold goes over the top to Torrey Horton. But those two plays, they sum up how this defense just did not know how to communicate last season. And with Durante Jones having this teaching background, being individualized or focused on individuals. I remember when he was hired, he spoke about creating individualized educational programs for all of the players. Those types of things stick my antennas up. I'm listening. You have my attention. And if he knows how to communicate with the players and get them to communicate with each other, then they are capable of executing this complex scheme. Last season, no shot in hell, but maybe, just maybe, they can do it this time around. Final note here before I close out the video, a kicking update. Some mixed reporting on if Jake Moody went 5 for 6 or 6 for 6 early on in practice, but he did outperform Drew Stevens, who only went 4 for 6 in the early portion, ended up missing from 49 and from 54 yards. Now, I believe there was a second kicking portion. Don't know who got the better of who in that one. I know that both kickers made from 58 yards. This is the first time, as far as I'm aware, that Jake Moody has truly outperformed Stevens. Might have been a kick here, kick there for both guys. But as far as I was aware, Stevens was winning the kicking competition. Believe that he still has the longest kick of the competition with a 63-yarder. But a resounding win for Jake Moody today. A big one for him because, again, it seemed like Stevens had pulled ahead in that battle. And these two are going to continue to go back and forth and see who earns the job by the time we get to the regular season. So that's just about it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like and the hype buttons. Again, subscribe if you're new around here. We are on the climb to 8,000 subscribers, and we will have more giveaways at some point. Link to join the full command Discord at the top of the description. And as always, your thoughts and opinions are welcome down in the comment section below. Be on the lookout for tomorrow morning's video. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I know that you're going to enjoy it. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. Appreciate y'all joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.